What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Deep Rhythm, and we back. Critical Thought. We back with another video, or Deep Art. And we got a special video for y'all today. Today, I got a special video and topic that I want to talk about. You know, and it's just regarding it's another poverty-stricken mentality, right? So we're breaking psychologies. And this one I want to break. Is very important, and this is the one regarding the aspect of, talking about yourself, spreading a narrative, of voicing your opinion, saying your truth. Now, it's easy for, people to not voice their opinion, because they've never been given a voice in the first place. They've dealt with so much trauma at a young age and have been told so many things that they're not at such a young age. And, this sort of thing gets reinforced in this way. And if you're someone who just, necessarily just happened to, have this sort of trauma, it's a pretty bad position, right? For many different reasons. You're in danger of many things, potentially, because when it comes to voicing your opinion, some things, some scenarios, this could lead to, it's a problem. Like, you now you have a problem. You can't voice that your opinion. You have neurons that have been trained to, suppress you in your voice, and it's very difficult now because you could potentially go through something really serious, and you see a lot of times if people go through things that really serious and yet they don't voice their opinion. They treat it as normal, or they treat it as something that can be forgotten, like because it's happening to them, right? And they have no self-esteem of their own selves, that serious things happen to them, and it's taken or treated as not as such a big deal in the grand scheme of things, because of it happened to them, right? And they have no self-esteem for themselves, right? This right here is very, the thing about this is, in terms of training neurons, it doesn't necessarily matter the person who it is, because at the end of the day, we're talking about neurons that are being trained and being developed. So regardless of, the external appearance of the person, if those neurons, if you're training neurons like that, you're gonna have some serious problems. In terms of many different reasons, influence in terms of your ability to affect others, your ability to lead by example, your ability to do many different things, right? Even take care of people. Like, how can you even take care of people if the psychology of your own self is basically screw you, anything can happen to your own self, and who cares, right? And with that sort of psychology, it's very detrimental and dangerous for many different reasons. Because now, if you train, neurons, or not you, but if trauma has potentially developed, these sort of neurons, neurological commands to be, happening within you, look how much harder now it is for you to be successful. Look how much harder it is now for you to get a job, for someone to take an opportunity on you, for you to even, value your own appearance, for you to even, accept, you wouldn't even be able to observe the things that you would need to observe, to put things in proper perspective. If you're out of alignment, or if there's no respect for your own self, what you do and the effect that you're trying to have is now compromised. That's the important thing to really understand. And this psychology, this psychology goes deep in terms of, at the end of the day, like we said, we're killing the narrative of, or killing the psychology that you don't have a narrative, or you don't have a voice, right? So it's important to understand that you do have a voice and that your voice is important, because the voice is what will allow you to grow yourself and do anything that you're trying to do. If you don't have a voice, then you necessarily can't achieve or accomplish the things they're trying to accomplish. You know, a voice comes with that. You know, it's not just necessarily just, you know, okay, like do what it's not just necessarily like, okay, I can do this, I can do that, you know, and it's just that's all. No, like you have to defend your own voice, because there's going to be people, especially if you're in the right direction doing something that's right, there's going to be people that's going to come for your voice. You know what I'm saying? And an attack on a narrative, an attack on a person's voice is one of the most dangerous attacks, subtly, because it's like, when you attack a person's voice and their ability to, you know, voice their own opinion, you can do anything to that person, you know, and you can do anything to that person. They can't say nothing, you know, and that's the deadly thing, and you know, that's the problem. You know, serious things could happen. It can go on to a person who doesn't have a voice, and then like it never get put to the proper light. So long story short, is anything that you try to do in terms of like having an effect, maybe you want to do something positive for the community, maybe you want to do something just positive in general, it'll never reach the surface and it'll never be understood, simply because you don't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? So everything that you do can be misconceptualized, and it can be put in a different narrative than what it actually is. And the problem with this is the fact that it's the matter of, no matter what you do, you know what I'm saying? No matter what you do, you can't escape a negative narrative or somebody else's narrative, or a white narrative, or someone else's, you know what I'm saying? Somebody else is narrative. You know what I'm saying? You can never escape somebody else's narrative. And that is the problem with not being able to, you know, not being able to voice your opinion, or not, you know, voicing your opinion, you know what I'm saying, or having neurological commands trained that allow you to be able to voice your opinion. So that's the important thing, right? Is just to have the neurological commands built in order for you to voice your opinion, because we know trauma's a motherfucker, right? And that can easily at a young age train, you know, psychological neurons in order to be built that don't allow you to voice your opinion or have self-esteem for yourself. And now we have a serious problem, because, you know, this has been trained at a young age, right? So all we have to do is tap into, you know what I'm saying, one of those environments, you know, and it's GG's. So narrative is important. Being able to voice your own opinion is important. And, you know, if that's something you can't do, you're in for a long haul, man. You're in for some hell. Because now, regardless of what you do, and it's just like, you know, a lot of the things that you do successfully, or you do correctly, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you do, you know, at the end of the day. It's still going to be viewed in some negative light. So it's important to, you know, understand that and voice your opinion and speak what you feel, right? Regardless of how controversial the shit may be, right? Fuck people's opinion and fuck people's feelings at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Just be cold turkey with it and fuck everybody else. You know what I'm saying? They feelings. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about dealing with mental health and dealing with mental abuse, fucking people drag others under the fucking dirt about this, about mental health. And that's a societal, cultural thing. Like, it's a cultural thing to drag motherfuckers under the mud who have mental health issues and have, you know, schizophrenia and ADHD and all these types of issues, because they can't do the same things or mentally be coherent enough to do the same things and achieve the same things that other people can do. And people will never understand that who don't have those things, right? And, you know, and people will never understand that, you know what I'm saying? And society is built around and structured in some sort of way that values everything that is opposing of, you know, people who have ADHD, schizophrenia, hallucinations, and all these other type of mental you know, disorders. Life in society is structured to oppose that, right? Everything you hear in societal values is something that these people that people with mental health issues can achieve, right? And well, I'll say this, right? That people with mental health and, you know, unproperly trained, unproperly, like, you know, dealt with, can achieve. And it's another thing, right? For example, like, you know, everything is set up to a point to where people judge people based on people's decisions. If you do this thing, oh, you're this type of person, or you may commit this action, and people are going to judge you and say you're this kind of person, and they sort of kind of box you into these categories. When you fall into the mental health categories, you do things for specific reasons in order to try to appease the mental health, the mental health, right? You do things for reasons because you battling something internally, right? And you commit, and people, and you commit to certain actions, and you do certain things to kind of, you know, appease that mental battle, right? But people will sort of categorize you and try to classify you into one of these sort of outlets, or one of these sort of, you know, compartments, saying you're this or you're that or whatever. But, you know, and that's why, you know what I'm saying, you know, that's why I say society is just built and structured in a specific way in order to, like, fucking drag niggas with mental health issues through the mud. It's built that way intentionally. So when you have sort of issues like this, you can't really, and you don't say you can't really voice your opinion, obviously, because you have mental health issues, right? But the important thing to understand is, fuck it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just to be cold turkey with what your emotions and what you feel and how you feel about shit. It's just being cold turkey and just cold, and fuck anybody's feelings about it. Because at the end of the day, the battle is set against, it's for you. It's not really set for anybody else. So, you know, it's just to be cold turkey, you know what I'm saying, with how you feel about shit, and just being able to enact on your ideas cold turkey, and being able to do the things that you need to do cold turkey, and even training yourself to a point to where you're emotionally cold turkey, you know what I'm saying, and being able to do, you know, anything that you need to do, right? Regardless of anything else, how somebody feels, if you might have hurt somebody or scarred somebody's soul, like, who cares? At the end of the day, because if you can't really enact on the things that, you know what I'm saying, that you want to enact on, now it's like you're viewed a certain way. And plus, on top of that, you know, that ADHD or whatever you got going is going to kick in, you know, 20 times harder, right? And that, you know what I'm saying, whatever principality you're dealing with is just going to kick in that much harder. So it's like you dealing with principalities, like you dealing with shit that's just unforgiving. You dealing with a real predator. You know what I'm saying? And it's a mental one. So, you know what I'm saying? There's no it's no playing around, no joking around. It's no you know, playing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no feelings involved. Ain't no this. You know what I'm saying? It's really just all cold turkey. You know what I'm saying? And there's no emotion attached to it. You know, because you're dealing with mental health. You know what I'm saying? And when you're dealing with mental health, it's everything. Everything's cold turkey. You know what I'm saying? Everything is cold turkey. You have things to do, and, you know, you just, you know what I'm saying, you got to be able to do those things. And, you know, society is going to look at you a certain, you know what I'm saying, try to classify and put you in one of these boxes because of how unidentified or how discovered, you know, mental health really is, right? They're going to try to put you in one of these categories and, you know, miss everything that's going on, right? You know what I'm saying? As you would try to fight and appease, you know what I'm saying, whatever the fuck is going on within that principality, right? And even principalities, you know what I'm saying, work to make you appear a certain way, period. You know what I'm saying? You're going to appear a certain way, period, if a principality get a hold of you. You know what I'm saying? Or when a principality because it's like this. You fighting an internal battle, but you know, but the external appearance looks, you know what I'm saying, something completely else or so completely different. So as you fighting mentally inside, you seeing a whole different landscape of a battlefield that has nothing to do with what you see outside on the exterior. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a battle structure completely for you to literally try to, make you appear some type of way as you continually fight, these other illusionary battles. And it's really just hallucinations and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's really just shit happening within the mind. And it's like when you're able to break free from that mental bondage or that mental trap, you know what I'm saying? Then you can really get to the bigger picture, right? And man, like, listen. Because that's what it is. It's a whole, bro. That whole thing is it's a whole genjutsu. You know what I'm saying? And it's just I broke free. You know what I'm saying? Like I broke free. From that genjutsu. Before, you know what I'm saying? I broke free from that genjutsu, and it's like you just got to be able to break free from that genjutsu, man. When it comes at you, you know what I'm saying? It's like all of this shit happening, and your mind is telling you this thing, and religion is telling you another thing, and telling you can't eat, you can't exist, you can't do nothing, you this, you that, and all of these things are influence you to make decisions you wouldn't normally make, based on those circumstances. You know what I'm saying? And that is the whole genjutsu, man. Like certain people and individuals are dealing with genjutsu that literally are coming up, that are coming up and putting them in sort of all these sort of ultimatums where, you know what I'm saying, now you're thinking about the littlest detail of every little thing. And it's like, if you don't do this way, this is what's going to happen. If you don't do this way, it's all a bunch of demonic shit, man. Like, it's all a bunch of genjutsu shit. Like, if you don't do this way, you know what I'm saying, this is going to happen. If you don't do it this way, then this is going to have a negative effect. Or it's going to be like, this person saying this about you, you ain't shit, you ain't that. God is, you know what I'm saying, or religion is this, and you weren't following the religion as good as you should, so you're this, and and all this stuff, right? And and the religion is gonna get you, you should be fasting 100 days and never eating, and you should never be doing this or that, and all these things that if you don't do, you can't do anything effective. And yeah, all this stuff hitting you at once, and you just got to be able to, man, just look at this stuff, you know what I'm saying, and break free from the genjutsu. And that's why I say being cold turkey is important, you know what I'm saying. But like I said, like breaking free from all that is what it is. Like breaking free from that genjutsu, whenever those things show up, man, is the priority. Like when you start hearing those things, man, you got to break free. You got to jump out of it, snap out of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's a matter of going cold turkey, you know what I'm saying? Like cold turkey in a sense to not even just the genjutsu, it's just people's feelings. Cold turkey to everything. Nothing really exists or matters but what you're trying to do. And that's just as simple as that. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What I'm trying to do is what I'm trying to do. What I know is what I know. You know what I'm saying? What I know is what I know. And, you know what I'm saying, how I'm going to implement it is how I'm going to implement it. And it's just as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Cold, straight turkey. And if you have a problem with what I'm doing, well, I'm going to have to make some cold turkey adjustments. The adjustments I'm going to make are going to be calculated, thorough, methodical, and they're going to be the right calculations. Fuck your feelings. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get cut off. I'm not going to do business with you. I'm not going to cater to you. I'm not going to give you no second chances. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's not like I'm not going to give you second. I'm not going to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? If you don't line up with the vision that I have in place, and you know what I'm saying, what I'm trying to put together, I'm not going try to make that work to appease your own feelings. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when people dealing with mental health have this problem too, is like, trying to appease people's feelings. at the detriment of something else. Like, it's better to just cut off the feelings, period. Fuck people's feelings. Fuck people's conceptualizations. Fuck what people think about you, because at the end of the day, that shit don't matter, one, and it's really just a distraction to play on you. But even still, when you deal with mental health, you know this, and it still has an effect. It's a feeling. It's sort of an energy effect. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you know you're really dealing with a principality, because it's this. You really don't care. You know what I'm saying? What people think about you, but it's the energy that comes behind it. You know what I'm saying? That to fight off. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's an attack. You know it's an attack, and this is just how they attack. You know what I'm saying? They just use other people and, make it seem like, or put some force or energy behind making it seem like you actually care what other people think about you. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difficult part to deal with. But to that point, that's just what a principality does. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what a principality is, I guess. It's just something that tries to make you feel like you actually care about shit you don't care about, and tries to actually make it seem like what you do, you don't know what you're doing, or it tries to make you, it switches up your narrative, right? The narrative of you. You know what I'm saying? It tries to make you be something that you're not. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what a principality does. And it doesn't do it by, entering your mind and saying all these things about you and whatever, and you just reacting like, oh, no. No, it's saying all these things about you with force. And it's the energy behind how they're saying it, you know what I'm saying, in the pressure and the aura that they come with, you know what I'm saying, that makes people fold. You know what I'm saying? Mentally. And it's like, as you continue to battle this thing, there are certain things that you just can't take anymore. Within how it's hitting you in your own mind. And then you start to enact and do certain things, you know what I'm saying, and react specific ways in order to stop the bleeding, you know what I'm saying, in order to stop the pain. And the attack, and once you make those subtle actions, those actions are calculated, and now those actions that you do got you appearing exactly how they want you to appear, right? So that's the important thing to understand about dealing with these principalities and whatnot. It's just how calculated they are. You know what I'm saying? How they come at you when they approach you, just to make you appear a certain way. Because everything they do is to make you appear a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Everything they do is to make you appear a certain way amongst men. So, voicing your opinion is important, I'll say. Taking care of yourself is important as well. And last but not least, man, just enjoying life, man. Because life is fucked up as it is, man, for someone with dealing with this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Someone dealing with this type of shit, enjoy your fucking life, man, and really just be yourself. You're dealing with this type of principality, most likely for a good reason. Like a good majority of people are dealing with it for the reason of just the authentic mind. You know what I'm saying? Who you are authentically as a person. You know what I'm saying? In your authentic mind. So express that authentic mind of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, listen, that's all you got at the end of the day. That's really all you got. And you know what I'm saying? But principalities, they gonna make it seem like all this other shit. They gonna put everything in your face, all the things that people of society value. They gonna try to throw all this shit in your face and try to, you know what I'm saying, insert it into your mental space, make you seem like you value it, have it just right there at the forefront of your mind to have you thinking about it. And as you try to get it out of your mind, you know what I'm saying, it's going to continue forcibly try to stuff it back in your mind, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to keep doing all this type of shit just to keep you from your own authentic mind. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a real beast. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a real monster. And these are And this is what these principalities will do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll literally just surface shit back in the forefront of your mind over and over and over, fucking get until you become it. You know what I'm saying? And do all other types of bodily shit, you know, involuntarily bodily shit just to make you appear a certain way, you know? Because that's what they do, you know? And at the end of the day, you know, it's really your will, you know, to be like transparent, like just to be like real with you. Like, it's really just your will, you know. It's really just your will, just to be authentic. Yeah, just to be authentic with you. It's just your will, you know. And with that, you know, then you can. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. Like, this important thing, but you know, that's what these things do. Like, you know, that's what these principalities do. You know, they will sit up there and do all sorts of things, make you have all sorts of involuntary bodily functions at all of the wrong times, just in order for you to get you to appear a certain way at that time. You know, like just having to use a bathroom or take a shit or fucking dump at the just complete wrong time, or just do fucking little shit like, you know, you have a uncontrollable itch. You know what I'm saying? How many times have you ever had to use the bathroom when you start to focus and lock in completely entirely into what you're trying to do, just to all of a sudden, when you actually either hold it and complete the thing that you're trying to complete, don't have to use the bathroom anymore, or when you get into the bathroom, you don't got to use the bathroom anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that was a bad example because, you know, that shit happens. That shit can happen to anybody, but that's one example that's actually serious though. That's actually serious stuff for people really dealing with principalities. Involuntarily bodily functions is a huge thing, a huge part of the process. You know what I'm saying? All the involuntarily bodily functions. Serious problem. You know what I'm saying? Serious problem. And when you're dealing with principalities, man, they enter the bodies and minds of other people in order for them to speak things and say things about you, at you, in order to get you, you know, reiterating and processing that within your own mind at a specific time, so that they can come back and hit you with something, you know what I'm saying, to line you up or set you up for an attack or set you up for something else, you know what I'm saying. And as that's processing it within your mind, when something else happens to you, you don't realize what actually happened to you, because they got this other thing processed in your mind that's kind of lined you up for it and made it seem like it's actually a natural thing. But that shit ain't natural, like whatever the fuck had just happened to you. You know what I'm saying? So they do a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? And you know, you know what I'm saying? This is just how they how they work, you know? And they'll do anything, man, to normalize shit and make shit seem normal, right? They'll do anything to make shit seem normal. Like, they'll use as many vessels, as many people, like, as, you know, as many times as they need to in order to get their point across, you know what I'm saying? And it's just relentless. So that's the thing to understand when you're dealing with, you know what I'm saying, this sort of shit, you know? Whether it be principalities or just fucking, you know, these mental shits right here, like hallucinations and shit, you know. They guard all the most important exits, all the most important points, you know what I'm saying. They be guarding the shit out of it, like all of the most important ones, you know what I'm saying. And then as soon as you try to tag through that, man, they will fucking do, you know, all hell, man. Like, it's just, you know, it's just you know. But anyway, yeah, yo, that's what we wanted to do in this video. We just wanted to break down and just the aspect of really dealing with psychologies, you know what I'm saying. We're breaking the psychological narrative voice of your voice, you know what I'm saying, having a voice. And this is, you know, something really structured and catered towards mental health, specifically, but also just others who just don't have a voice, period, you know. But I think not having a voice is a mental health issue, period. You know what I'm saying? Because 9 times out of 10, that comes from some sort of trauma or some sort of experience or neurological functions that have been trained to keep you silent. You know what I'm saying? And that's a mental health issue. And mental health is so underdiscovered, man. There's so many types of neurological, neurons that could be trained to function a specific way that are bad, that are negative, that are dysfunctional. Countless, endless, like literally vast amounts, of neurons that could be trained. Potentially, it could be trained, or potentially could potentially in the future be trained. You know what I'm saying, or be unfortunately reinforced. That could have a negative, a dysfunctional effect on you and your growth. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna conclude this video right here. I'm definitely gonna make a part 2 to this. I might make like 5,000 parts to this, because this is like really crazy, and this is like a really serious thing. But anyway, peace, love. Hope y'all doing good, man. Hopefully whomever's listening could take from this. Love y'all. Peace. And we out this joint.